Hey friends, welcome back to Art and Alchemy. I'm very excited for today's video because we're going to set our bullet journals up for a brand new year. In this video, I'm going to share my entire process of planning for the new year. So grab your bullet journals and let's get started. Before working on my 2024 spreads, I sat down with my bullet journals from 2023 to analyze what spreads worked for me and what did not. This tiny step ensures that the spreads are evolving with your ever-growing and changing needs. And now we're ready to start planning for 2024. This year, I'm going to use a notebook from a brand called Anaxa. This is a simple notebook with 120 GSM thick paper. There are not many features like other notebooks out there, but I like the paper quality and that's all that matters to me. I'm using some gel pens, fine liners, and a copper color acrylic marker to add some details. Let's start by writing my name inside the book. As for the illustration, I'm making a simple waves doodle here. I've been into immersive meditations lately that use wave sounds in the background. The sound of waves crashing and the sea foam dissolving calms me down. I wanted to carry the same feeling into New Year. On the left side, I created a flip-out page just like last time, inside which I will store some of my collections which you'll see later in this video. I usually have a key on the left side of the flip out, but since I don't use it anymore, I decided to use that space for writing down the significance of waves that in a way sets an intention for this new year. I cut out the pocket from this brown cardstock and cut the top part as a wave to create some interest. I then added a few more details with the copper color marker and finished the spread off. Now let's work on the cover page. The font is similar to the one I used last year. The theme is inspired by a couple of delicate tattoo designs I came across on Pinterest. I included sun, moon, and stars to create a cosmic and otherworldly experience. On the left, I included a quote by James Clear that says, "All big things come from small beginnings." Last year, I wrote a quote that says, 12 new chapters, 365 new chances, as a reminder to celebrate each day with the same enthusiasm as the new year. Unfortunately, I did not look at it after 3 months as I moved into a new notebook. So I decided to write it on a separate piece of paper and stick it on the wall of my workspace. Before we move on to the next spreads, let's create ourselves a grid spacing guide. This guide doubles as a ruler and a bookmark and can be moved to any page you want to work on. To set it up, take a strip of paper from your current journal and draw 2 lines to mark the first and last dots. Next, number the dotted spaces. Now add markings to divide them into halves, thirds, fourths, and sevenths. On the other side, make markings to indicate spacing as a 5, 6, and 7 spaces. This comes in handy to draw calendar grid. If you're using a standard A5 size notebook, you can mark your half after 20th dotted space. For thirds, after 1, 14, 27, 40. And for fourths, after 10, 20, and 30. Now for sevenths, after 3, 8, 13, 18, 23, 28, 33, and 38. Repeat these exact same steps on the back side for horizontal measurements. My paper here is a little thin, so I'm sticking 2 strips together to make it sturdy. I finally added the title, rounded the corners, and added a ribbon to use it as a bookmark. Our grid spacing guide is now ready. Use the vertical scale to divide your page into horizontal sections and horizontal scale for vertical sections. The next 2 spreads are for index and I'm keeping them very simple. Next, we'll set up our future log. Considering that I'll move into a new journal after 6 months, I'm adding the calendars to the first 6 months only and leaving a little space for the next 6 months just in case I need them. Now comes the major planning part. Before we start with the 2024 planning though, what's important is to review and reflect on the past year to gain insights on your experiences and lessons in order to set yourself up for 2024. This, in my opinion, is an extremely crucial step. I'm going to incorporate Dutch toast for these spreads, which I already cut to make the filming process hassle-free. Here I will write down my highlights and accomplishments from 2023. I would suggest you all to list down all of your accomplishments, even if they are the smallest ones. Next, I have a couple of prompts to reflect on the challenges and experiences from 2023. I have created a PDF with a list of all the prompts I used and shared it in the description box below for your convenience. Check that out if you're interested. And now for the 2024 planning spreads, I start by making the simple illustration on the left. Earlier, we looked at the past year. Now let's understand where we are at present. This page includes prompts to check in with yourself and to understand where you are and where you truly wish to be. This will help you gain a perspective about how to bridge the gap between your present and ideal selves. On the next page is our intention spread. I have written this prompt, "What's your why?" in bold to lay emphasis on relying on your why power rather than your willpower. I added a quote at the bottom that says, "When your why is big enough, you will find your how." On the right, I have space for my intentions. It is of utmost importance to write your intentions to set yourself meaningful and truly personal goals. I'm adding a tab on the top. I usually set these spreads up only to completely forget about them as the months pass. Now this tab will help me locate the page easily and act as a visual cue for me to keep coming back to the spread. On the next page, I have my goals. I needed extra space for this, so I'm sticking this flap here. I decided to change the title to Focus instead of Goals, as goals seem a little heavier and intimidating. Focus, in my opinion, is a simple yet powerful action word. I have divided this into 3 areas of my life: personal growth, health, and career. I will add just 1 or 2 things in each category. Trust me, you'd want to add a lot of things to the list, but I suggest you narrow them down to 2 most important goals to avoid feeling overwhelmed. I also added a sticky note saying, "Do not set outcome-based goals, instead focus on process or system-based goals." This is a tiny reminder for myself and to you all while you fill these spreads up. Now, just setting goals is not enough, so next I'll write down my why to define my purpose and intention for each goal. I then work on my how, where I'll set up my routines and systems to help me achieve that goal. Doing all this might seem like a lot, but it'll make the goal setting process a lot more meaningful. I am again creating a tiny tab to bookmark this page. You could use ribbon bookmarks instead of these tabs, but they never help me as much. I'm going to chuck the quarterly planning pages this time, as it did not help me that much last year. Next, I'm adding a things to learn spread. I made 2 sections for skills I want to pick up and qualities I want to work on, again paired with a section to write my why. Most of my spreads from last year's setup worked well for me, except for the fact that I had to keep moving certain spreads over to my other bullet journals multiple times. So I decided to make these movable cards or spreads for my reading tracker, social media growth tracker, and important info. I'll place them in the pocket we created earlier and simply move them over when I switch into a new notebook. Let's move on to the final segment of this video. Bullet journaling is incomplete without reflection. To make reflecting an easy process, let's create these review cards with a bunch of prompts that help you reflect on daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis. Reflection is an integral part of bullet journaling, which when paired with planning, deepens your perspective on what matters the most to you. The prompts I'm writing are same as last year's, but the only change is that I'm adding my daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly routines along with the list of prompts. To give you guys an example of a routine, I usually forget to fill out my monthly trackers like books I read, social media growth tracker, etc. Now that I've paired routines with reflections, I will also finish the routine every time I reflect. I made these prompts available as a document as well as a printable format to make the process easy for you guys. In order to store these, I'm adding a pocket at the back that opens on the outside. I let the tabs peek through a little, again to serve as a visual cue. I also added another pocket on top to save all my scrap pieces of paper. That finishes our entire setup, and it's now time for the flip through. I'm going to take my time filling these spreads up as they require a lot of self-reflection. I truly enjoyed working on this setup. Do share your recreations with me by tagging me on Instagram at @artandalchemy. Check out all the details in the description box. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.